Hello, genealogists. It's Craig, and this is Just Genealogy. So, a few days ago, I talked to you about the descendants of American presidents, and as I was doing my little 10,000 step walk, I had plenty of time to think, so I thought it might be a good idea to talk about descendants of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Now, that's not quite the same thing because we're dealing with the descendants instead of ancestors, but the issue becomes that you can also, with a level of effort, and you are genealogists after all, connect to the ancestors of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, possibly. But what I'm going to focus on today is their descendants, because there is an organization that deals with the descendants of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Now, there's this guy, Frank Leach, who was the son of the Reverend Joseph Smallage Leach and his wife, Sophia Ball, who was born about 1855, and he died in Philadelphia in 1943. He had this passion for the descendants, so he began collecting information on those descendants. And he did it for a very long time. And he was a lawyer by trade, but he had really little interest in the lawyer profession because his greatest passion was these signers. Anyway, it got to the point where all the signers were deceased, and he started after they were gone. So he began to collect the necessary genealogical information to make it possible for him to know everything there was to know about the signers and then their descendants. And hopefully he would be able to collect the information through the second, third, and fourth generations. He collected a lot. In fact, there came a point in time after his 30 years of research that it was decided that he should sell it all. And unfortunately, it was so expensive that the descendants of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, which had been formed in 1907, nor the SAR could independently fund the negotiated price. And through Mr. R.C. Thurston Ballard, who was a member of the SAR and a member of the Filson Club, that he would personally advance the money if the then Secretary General of the Descendants, John Calvert, would inspect the materials to be purchased and return a favorable report. Well, John Calvert returned a favorable report, and over the next 6 years, the Secretary retyped, reordered, and mounted those pages, and indexing was done to them all. And then it became 20 bound volumes. And these would officially be known as the Leach Manuscript. Now, there are several gaps and incomplete lines in the Leach Manuscript. And the guy didn't live forever. And this was partially because he couldn't always communicate with the descendants of the signers in order to obtain much of the information that he was looking for. So where is the Leach Manuscript today? Well, fortunately, the Leach Manuscript is in the Family History Library. It's also in the Filson Club, the SAR Library, the Genealogical Society of Pennsylvania, and the Library of Congress. But the easiest place to access it is the Family History Center, because it being in the Family History Center, it's also accessible through the Family History Library Network and the Family History Affiliate Centers. It's one of those deals that has that camera with the lock over the top of it. So there are 6 microfilms that are available on the Family Search website if you have access to the Family History Center or one of the affiliates in the network. The Register General for a while of the descendants of the signers of the Declaration of Independence was a guy by the name of Fred Pyne. And Fred Pyne, as a registrar, of course, was a genealogist. And he created the opportunity for individuals to access the application files of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, descendants, their application files. And in 2004, we put the 2,673 applications that were then available on 3 cd-roms. Now, that made, because they're handwritten and typed and all that kind of stuff, they're difficult to figure out. So Pyne also created a index. So there's alpha by signer, alpha by member, and then the chronological by member number. So there's about 100,000 people in these applications. And Heritage Books is the publisher of the index and the CDs. So you can obtain the CDs and the index, of course, because we have it at Heritage Books. And since Hancock was such a vibrant person on the Declaration of Independence, here's a trick question for you. How many people actually signed the Declaration of Independence that was sent to King George? Think about it for a moment. We are so used to the Declaration having the names of all the signers on it, but that's not what they sent to King George. They sent the King George copy to him with only 2 signatures on it. One of them was John Hancock. I forget who the other one was, but there's a little research task for you. And he was the Secretary of the Continental Congress at the time. John Hancock was the president. They didn't want to give the king the names of all the traitors. Pretty good plan. However, I'm quite sure and confident that very quickly the king's forces were aware of who all the traitors were. So we did this back in 2004, so anything since then is not included here, but I highly recommend it for your library, your local library, or your personal library. So if you use the discount code Hancock, you will get a 20% discount on either the index with the CDs or just the index. You can get just the index also. So this is Craig with Just Genealogy. It's been another day, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, I forget. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the button. Don't forget to tell your friends. We've hit sort of a plateau. I need more subscribers. I share a lot, and I just need to share with more people. That's all. Please let me share with more people. Please help me out here. Don't forget to take advantage of the Leach Manuscripts. If you go to familysearch.org, you'll see how they're organized. They're organized by state. Now, Pyne also did a multi-volume set on the Descendants in print, which was done by Picton Press, and Picton Press is out of business, and those books are no longer available, and the Reverend Pyne is deceased, and so it's doubtful that those books will ever be back in print. They're very expensive if you can find them. But you could create your own using the application files and the Leach Manuscript. So again, this is Craig at Just Genealogy, signing off for another day.